County leaders are considering a new approach to fighting the coronavirus pandemic, and it is the focus of a vote that's happening later this morning.
News 8's Evan Narani is live outside the county administration building with a closer look at what we can expect. Good morning, Evan.
Good morning to you as well, Eric and Stella. That's right. This new framework being taken up by the County Board of Supervisors is to approach the COVID-19 pandemic in the year 2021 now with a different lens. It kind of rejects past ways to address the pandemic and goes with a new approach. One of the primary ways is by calling COVID-19 a pandemic related to race, and that the racial disparities across how different minority groups have been treated has significantly changed the way that they've been able to address COVID-19. They also want to approach the pandemic more transparently with the public. They say that aligning themselves with the state guidance and county public health guidance is going to be paramount to addressing the pandemic going forward. So here's a little bit of what Supervisor Nathan Fletcher had to say.
We have to make the difficult decisions to keep our communities safe. It is hard on our small businesses, which is why we're moving hundreds of millions of dollars to help and assist them, but we can't avoid it.
So with this being one of the first board meetings of the year with new members of the board, Supervisor Nathan Fletcher says the past board's response was erratic and inconsistent with public health. One of the resolutions singles out the previous board for taking actions in defiance of state and county health leaders, saying those actions, quote, have harmed our public health response and undermined confidence in our strategy. The new plan could direct more funding to communities of color that have been hit especially hard by the pandemic. It also draws a more collaborative approach in working with the state going forward, as opposed to the county deviating from state guidance, as some supervisors have suggested. Now, a separate resolution under the same umbrella calls on input from the public, especially from communities of color, to understand how racial and ethnic disparities have impacted the COVID response. It also directs that chief administrative officer to enhance data collection and return with an action plan to identify those disparities and respond to them. Now, these resolutions are pretty much more statements, declarative statements, as opposed to having any fiscal or business impact. Nathan Fletcher says he wants to go into 2021 with that kind of bold declaration, as opposed to deviating from what the county and state guidance has been. It doesn't name any supervisors directly, though there have been supervisors who are a part of the board now or who were a part of the last board that rejected that state guidance and encouraged businesses to open up against those guidelines. So now with Supervisor Nathan Fletcher being one of the leaders of the Board of Supervisors, along with one of the newer members, he says that this plan that's up for a vote today will be more to head into 2021 with those bold and declarative statements that we are following the public health guidance and that we are going to align more closely with the state as opposed to deviating from that norm. I'll send things back to you, Eric and Stella.